18 months ago I started travelling internationally with my book, and I travelled to a whole bunch of countries. And just before I came here, I said to my husband and the girls, you know, I'm such a great traveller, it's so easy for me, and last night proved me wrong because I got ill last night. And so I've had a really rough night, and so this morning I got up and I just thought, okay, I've got to speak, I've got to show up and speak, I want to honour the other speaker, I want to honour the people coming to listen. And I just really dropped into my heart space and thought about what I wanted to talk about. And I wanted to talk about how to make jam. I wanted to talk about something I grew up with and I learnt from my grandmother. I was born in the early 60s, so we're talking like the late 60s, early 70s. My nan and granddad had this really huge house. And at the back of the house was this big long kitchen that ran the whole width of the house. You know those old houses, and they're all at the back? And about once a month, all the women from the street would arrive at my nana's house and come down to the kitchen, and they would all bring whatever it was they'd raised. So some of them had plum trees, some of them had orange trees, some of them had tomatoes, and they would bring all this food in big buckets, and they would have all these glass jars. And over the course of the day, they would make jam and preserves and chutneys and stuff like that for their families. The incredible thing that I observed and watched was that over that day, the relationships that took place. So in that day, they not only made jam, they did life together. And if one of the neighbours' girls was having trouble, one of the other neighbours would be able to help. If somebody was going through a hard time financially, one of the other guys would be able to help. If somebody had a bad husband, someone else's husband would be sent down to have a chat to him. And I watched, because these were women that had come out of the Second World War. So these were women who had raised kids straight after the Second World War. So they were tough women. And the incredible thing was that by the end of the day, all you could smell was these beautiful sweet smells, but all you could hear was laughter. And I thought a lot about it, and I thought, in life, we don't understand how to do life and make jam together to make it easier for ourselves. Because in business and in life, there are people that are drawn to you and people that should come into your life for you to simply make jam with. They have some business that you need, you have some business that they need. And they are brought into your life to create this synergy so that we can do life easier. You know, you are only born with 3 needs. The need to belong, the need for value, and the need for worth. Every other core value, every other need is taught by society. We're only born with 2 fears, the fear of being dropped and the fear of loud noises. Every other fear we are taught. And it's just incredible for me because I came from a Polynesian background. So my granddad was this big, tall, Tongan black man. And he had 6 sisters. And the other thing I grew up observing was the table of aunties at every event that we went to. And at every family event that we went to, there would be a table where nobody would sit because the aunties were going to sit there. And those aunties had a relationship that was deeper than any relationship I'd ever seen in my life. And they were best friends. They were the people that did life at a deep, emotional level. They adored each other. And as they grew old and one passed, the table would still be set for 6, and then one chair would be flipped up, so the other 5 would sit there. And then another one. And when it got to 3 chairs, I remember my other 3 aunties just chose to disperse into the family because they couldn't take it. And I'll never forget the last auntie to be left said these words to me. She said, if in life you have 5 women at your table, you live a blessed life. And I think that we all want a great life. My whole dream in life is to live a life I'm madly in love with. I made a decision a long time ago, life was too short for me to be involved in doing things that I don't like, don't turn me on, and don't have any advantage in my life. I have a husband, I have 4 adult daughters, I have 4 son-in-laws and 9 grandchildren. So I've got plenty of family. And when I do life with them, I do it to the fullest. But I was thinking about this, and I was thinking that for women, we always have to guard insecurity. And I wish we didn't. I just wish we didn't. Because I think if we could understand the concept of whether your friend belongs at the auntie table or in the kitchen making jam, we can work it out. And we can walk together really well if we understand that just because you get on with someone who's making jam with you doesn't mean you drag that table in and sit them down. Because there's people in your life that come into your life. I've got 5 friends. I live in Australia with 3 of them, and 2 of them live in New Zealand. If anything happened to my husband or my children when I got home, they would be there within minutes. My last daughter got married last year, and she got married to an Australian boy who was English by descent and had immigrated with his parents. So he married into a Polynesian culture family where the lines are very blurry. We all belong to each other, we all integrate and do what it, it's just we do life, we tribe. And he comes from this very succinct English family where you don't enter his room without knocking. And so he really struggled to understand our family. And he pulled some punches around the wedding and sort of came head to head with me saying, your mum's so controlling and I don't want her to have all this, I want my wedding. And it was really difficult for me because the other girls had all done it, because 2 of my girls are married to South African boys who totally get it. So everybody else had kind of done it along the way. The people at your table, my girls at my table, walked with me through that for 9 months while the wedding was getting prepared. They understood. The people at your table are able to say to you, that's bad, you should deal with it. They love you and they can be honest with you. I watched my Tongan aunties fight. I watched them give each other a hard time, but it was never in anything except based in love. And you know what? Those women were never stressed. They were never torn apart. They were never broken because they had each other. And I come to events like this and I watch everybody get along, and I long for it to be like that back in Australia. I long for the way everybody gets along here to be like that in Australia in the business sector, because it's not like that. You meet Australians here, I don't know what it's like for the rest of you, but we meet Australians here and they're all over us. Whereas you meet them at a breakfast or something, they're not like that when you're back home. And it's because they don't understand what it is. But in life, if you're in business, if you're doing anything, you have to have 2 separate sets of women. You have to have the aunties at the table. You have to have your table. Because life is way too short and too hard to not have that. To just have people that love you and get you and want you to be everything you can be. I post things on Facebook, and I'll post something like, rough night in New Delhi, bring on that trip home. And they're the 5 people that say, you okay? Not on Facebook, privately. Because your tribe, your jam makers talk on Facebook, your aunties talk to you. You okay? You need anything? You're going to be okay? And I think when we can understand the difference, then we can be really free. Because I came from this really broken childhood. And by the time I was 12 years of age, I'd been sexually abused by 14 different men. My dad was a schizophrenic from the day I was born. So I never grew up in anything normal. I didn't know how to eat with a knife and fork. I taught myself at a friend's house when I was about 9 years of age, and they kept using them, so I learned how to use them. My dad nearly killed my mum twice. My mum was a complete shell of a woman, completely broken, had nothing left for us. I don't remember ever being encouraged. I don't remember ever being talked about in a positive manner. I don't remember ever being cared about. So as I grew up, I had to learn all of that for myself. I had to go and find that for all of myself. And I think that when you have to live a life where you've got to go and find some stuff, sometimes you're really good at it. You get really good at it because it didn't come naturally. I've got girlfriends that never doubt themselves because all their life they've heard their mum and dad say, you are incredible. My mum and dad sold me at a card game once. So I've learned to believe in myself. So you know what? When you understand how to make jam with people and the value that they can bring to your life, when you understand the importance of needing jam, even if you come from that incredible family. I come from this family where I got nothing, so I went looking to make jam with people because I needed to learn the recipe. I needed to learn how to do it. And I stumbled onto this incredible thing where I now have this great business network, and I now have this great personal network, and I get along with a whole bunch of women, and we do this fantastic thing all over the world together. But I don't put the pressure on them to be at the table. That's reserved for different people. So we can do life together and we can have a good time together. You know, I bought these from my room today to give you a good reminder. This is jam. But you know what? This is jam. Your business card is jam. And you know, you don't know what you don't know until you find out. And the best way to find out is to make jam with people and to let them into your life. You know, if you can imagine coming from the home that I came from, I went and did a course at a church one afternoon, and I did a course on how to believe in yourself because I was misbehaving at work and my boss sent me to this course. And I met a girl there about the same age, and she came from the pastors, the guy that ran the church. I knew nothing about church at that stage, came from his home, and so she invited me to dinner to her house. Now, I come from a home where I thought meat was luncheon and ham. I didn't know what steak or mince was. My mum didn't cook, my dad didn't cook. And so I arrive at her house early, and she goes off to have a shower, and I notice that her sister, who's 8, has set the table, and she set 3 of everything. So I feel sorry for her, because, you know, we all know you don't need 3 knives and 3 forks. So I unpack the table down to 1, thinking I'm protecting that 8-year-old sister. And we sit down to dinner, and the parents go, "Where's all the knives and forks?" And I didn't know till that stage I'd made a mistake. It wasn't the only mistake I made that night. They served a hot towel and I washed my face. They served the finger bowl and I drank it. But do you know what? That night I went home and learned something. And now every Christmas my grandchildren sit down to 3 sets of cutlery and finger bowls and learn stuff that I learnt making jam with someone. So you can never be complete without 2 things. The table full of aunties that just love you. They are your soft place to land. On the day when it goes pear-shaped, and at least one day in your life it will, they are the people. 3 years ago, my husband went for a random blood test and we got told he had stage 3 prostate cancer. My husband is my absolute rock. He is the absolute opposite to me. And do you know what those 5 women did? They just created a soft place to land till I could get myself together. Now he's had the operation, he's gone on a huge health kick, and he's beating it big time. We're all good. But you know what? Right at that moment, when I'm told my husband's got a couple of months, it's scary. And you know what? That table of aunties, they are the soft place to land. I didn't go and put it on Facebook and talk to all my jam makers. These are the guys that are still working for me. You know, you need a website done, you jam. You need speaking engagements, you make jam. You need to learn something in life, you make jam. I'm here with 15 women. 13 of them I make jam with, 2 of them sit at the table. That's how it works. And I don't get all bent out of shape when we go home tomorrow, because we start exiting out tonight because we're going to Australia, which is like way away. I was just talking to an English lady who's looking at going on the train. I was like, oh, please. You know, I'm speaking in Portugal to some Americans at a mastermind next month, and I'm 40 hours transit, 28 hours in a plane, and I'm like, we should move, baby. Australia's just way too far away. But when you make jam with people, when you understand this concept and you understand how to differentiate, you don't get upset when these women start getting on the plane and don't talk to me next month. Don't contact me till they need a website. Don't contact me till they need a bookkeeper. You know, one of the greatest gifts I have is I'm a bookkeeper. I have an accounting background. You hand me your books, I can tell you why you're not making money. I can tell you how to make twice as much money in 14 weeks because it makes sense to me. So if you need to make jam with someone who understands figures, what are you going to look for? A bookkeeper. And even if you get along with her, it doesn't mean you invite her into the table. It doesn't mean you drag that sacred table into the kitchen and say, sit down. Because that's what we do wrong. Most of us give away too much of ourselves, too much of our emotions, too much of our strength. We just need to understand that some people we make jam with and some people are a soft place to land. Thank you.
Maybe one day I'll move to the table. So I'm going to talk about the jam makers when we talk about partnerships. And when I look at this, I see 1 plus 1 makes 11. And it stands out to say power of partnership as if 1 plus 1 is the true essence of a partnership. So a couple of months ago, some friends, a really good friend of mine, probably would almost say like my best friend, I still use the term BFF even at this age. I said, you know what, we should do this business together. So I had an opportunity to explore a new business, totally a business that I've never done before, in an industry that I've never been in before, to a clientele that I've never worked with before. But I said, well, you know, we should do this business together. I didn't want to do it by myself. So I've worked for so long by myself, I just thought, I would love to have a partner this time, someone who I can work with. And so she's like, yeah, this is a great idea. So we started working together. She put the business plan together and kind of shared off what each person should have in the business. And I thought, those numbers don't look right. But anyway, she's my friend. She'll just, fix it eventually because we're friends. And so now we have a third party into the business, and the conversations are going on, and now the third party is asking for more, but they're asking her to give up more. And I thought, well, yeah, she should, because she's not doing nearly as much as what I'm doing. And so she now asked, would I give up 1%? So this third party could have, and she would give up 1%. So I agreed. And then I just woke up one day and I thought, what are you doing? You're giving your whole blood, sweat, and tears for such little return. Is this really the kind of partnership that you really want to be in? Is this a good relationship for you? And I made the fatal mistake of thinking, because you're my really good friend, you would look out for my best interests. I started realizing that the only one who's going to look out for my best interest is me, because I determine what my best interest would be. Now, was she being wicked or deceitful or greedy? No, she was doing what she thought was best from her perspective. So I learned in that lesson, really, what we value is totally different. They were placing a high percentage on how much money each person would bring to the table. And so I had a decision to make of, do I want to bring what they're requiring of me? But I wanted to make a point that money is such a commodity that anyone can have. Money is not that big of a deal. We can all make money. We can all bring some money. And money comes from people who sometimes do not have a face when we're talking in business. We can get investors. But what I was bringing to the table was sweat equity that no one else could bring. So I felt that I had the rarest commodity. Anyway, the deal went to bust. But what I learned that in partnerships, what do we normally think of when we're talking about partnerships? When I'm saying that we should be partners, are we thinking what? Equal. That we should all bring equal. So if I'm bringing apples, you should bring apples, you should bring apples, but at least you're going to bring oranges, right? We should all bring the same. But what I learned in this thing is that partnerships are not about equal. Because partnerships sometimes mean that I bring what looks like less, but you can't find it anywhere else. So therefore it's more. So we think about the law of supply and demand, basic economics 101. If I'm the only one who are selling nails and everybody has a hammer, which has more value? Right? And so therefore, in a partnership, sometimes we have to look at the value of what we're bringing to the table versus trying to have all these equals. And especially in marriages, a lot of times in marriage, it's like 50-50. There's no 50-50 in marriage, and there's no 50-50 even in business relationships. So I want to kind of just look at, I just wrote some short notes here that, of course, I didn't bring my glasses, so I'm just going to struggle through what these notes are. So one of the things I think about when we talk about partnerships, what we need to look at is synergies. How do we all bring our talents, our skills together to make something that looks uniquely different than what anyone else has. And so that's why I'm not really crazy about this 1 + 1 makes 11, because we're still individuals. It's still, this one is standing by itself, and it's one is standing by itself. And when I think about a partnership, you bring, and I'll take your analogy of jam. Someone brings the fruit, someone brings the sugar, someone brings the jar, someone brings, I don't make jam, so, you know, and we put it all together, and next thing you know, we don't have fruit, we don't have sugar, we don't have jar. We have this beautiful thing called jam. And that's what a partnership looks like. We're all bringing something together to the table to make something that we could not make by ourselves as an individual. We couldn't do it. So we need each other, which is, you know, such the amazing thing. So someone brings skills. So someone brings amazing technical skills. Someone brings amazing interpersonal skills. Someone brings cash. Someone brings locations. So I don't know if you ever watched the show, The Prophet. I don't know if you've ever seen this show. This guy goes in there and he takes struggling businesses and he flips them around. But the first thing he always says, now this is supposed to be a partnership. Someone has a business of 25 years, it is dying. And he walks into that business. He assesses what's going wrong. He tells them, this is my plan to have you turn around. But I'm totally in charge. And here's how much money I'm giving you. But this person is like, but for 25 years, I've been doing this. And he says, but I'm totally in charge, and here's the check. Take it or leave it. And he's buying into their business to turn it around. So then the natural thing would think, well, that's an unfair partnership. How could you be totally in charge of someone else's business that they have put together for 25 years? They have given it a name, they have made money, they have staff, they have a brand, they have inventory. But why was he there? Because all of that, any day now, is going to be zero. And so what he brings to the table is the ability to take this business that's making a nosedive and turn it back around. So should that really be 50-50, or should he be 100% in charge? Because they had their opportunity of 100% in charge, and where did that get them? They were doing it 100% in charge for 25 years. And so when we look at partnerships, you know, I want us to come to the table and say, what are you bringing? What am I bringing? How can we make this unique new idea look like something that no one else could ever duplicate, because each one of us are bringing something to the table. And so, and therefore, we can grow something. And, you know, as we're putting our things on the table, let's put value to them. Because at the end of the day, it is a business deal, right? So let's put value to them. So we have to put value. But value can be market value. What would the market pay for this if it wasn't in this relationship? So what would the market pay for your talent? What would the market pay for your skill? What would the market pay for your connections, your location, your know-how? What was the market paying for your branding for a business that had already been existing? So we look at, you know, you look at market value. It's a great way to look at it. Then you look at time. And you look at time in terms of how much more time are you going to give to this? And is that time as valuable as what you're about to put in? Because could we get anybody to put that time in? So, you know, those are just some of the things that you want to give value to when you're talking about a partnership. So I want to kind of just give quick, like, different kinds of partnerships, because partnerships also, you know, that's the traditional of you and I, we signed an agreement, we're partners for life in a business. But sometimes you can be just a project partner. There's an opportunity that comes up, and you have a particular skill set, but you don't have all the skills that are needed for that project. Or you don't have the time, and you know someone else does. So I had a friend and I, we worked on a lot of projects together. And so we worked in Nigeria together on loads of projects. Now we have very similar human resource skills, but the way we went about it was totally different. So when we would sit at the table, there was always this good cop, bad cop person. You know, she was very assertive, very straight to the point, which, you know, sometimes our clients' eyes would just be like wide open and terrified as she was talking. and then I would just soften the blow. Same information, but I would just think, well, perhaps we'll do that in 3 months, which is what she just said. But it just changed the conversation. So that relationship, that partnership worked very well for us getting a lot of jobs together. But it was project-based. So as different projects would come up together, we would work them. And sometimes in your organizations, in your companies, you can't necessarily take on this huge project, but you don't want to say no to it, and you don't want the project to fail. So project-based project is the one way that you can grow your business, get your opportunities out there without actually having such a heavy, payroll while you're doing that. Another way to look at projects is just what I would call affiliates. So maybe you and I have the same client base. So my clients and your clients are actually the same, but you do something different. And so what I say is that, hey, can we just partner on just letting people know that I'm selling shoes? You sell socks. So all the people who buy socks are going to eventually need shoes. Well, they might need shoes now. So you tell all your sock customers that, hey, Sable is selling shoes. So for that particular shoe sale that I'm having, I get to enjoy the benefits of your customer. And for a fee, because you're not going to just give me all your sock customers for free, but for a fee, you say, go ahead and talk to all my sock customers. And it's usually a percentage of how much I can convert from your sock customers. And for that, I now just earn revenue from a customer base I didn't even know exists, who didn't even know I exist. You've now earned revenue because I sold your customers something that they actually needed, shoes. They have socks, they needed shoes. They were going to buy shoes anyway, but if they went to buy shoes from someone that you didn't now make this connection with, you would have not made any money off of that. But now, you've been able to make money, your customers are happy, and you've also elevated your profile in their eyes because you've now showed them, wow, she has really cool relationships. Everything I need, I can get right here. Why should I go anywhere else? When I need shoes, she brings it. The next week, maybe you bring ties. So affiliates is a great way. A lot of times people are not very happy with affiliate relationships. They're like, oh, they're going to steal my customers. Your customers can never buy everything that they need from you because you just don't offer it, not even Walmart. We still go somewhere else to buy certain things. As big as Walmart has their superstore with gasoline and milk and socks and Pampers and gym outfits and gym equipment, they have everything. Or do they? So if Walmart could not satisfy everything in our customer desires, why do we think that we can do it? So we shouldn't be nervous about doing affiliate relationships. It really helps us to grow our business and grow our credibility. Another way we can grow our business through relationships and partnerships is joint venture. And so again, you and someone else, you and the sock and the shoe person, can get together and now have the biggest sock shoe sale that has ever existed. And you just have it for one day. There you are, telling everybody, come and get socks and shoes. Everyone comes in, you invite all your people, they invite all their people, you invite people who you didn't know. Everyone comes in for the biggest sock and shoe sale that ever existed. They leave, they're happy, you shake hands, you take your money, and it's over. So it's just that, for that event, you formed a joint venture, simply for that event. And what did it do? It boosts both of your businesses. You now got great revenue. You also got new customers. Both of you got new customers. And so that's another way. But why, if there's all these amazing ways to have partnerships, are we so nervous? So another good show that I love to watch is Shark Tank. Yeah, I spend all my time watching business shows. So if I'm going to watch a reality show, let it at least, feed my soul. So Shark Tank, there's these self-made billionaires all sitting there, and everyone's pitching their ideas that they know this is the idea that's going to make it. And they now all say, okay, yeah, you know, how much equity do you want to give us in your business, for how much? And everyone kind of says, you know, I'll give you 20% for 5 million, this, that, and the other. And what always seems to make me concerned is when someone is, the shark is asking for a larger percentage or wants to give them less money, and the person is saying, no way. I built this from my garage, and I did this and this, and this person, you came on this show because you knew this person had something that you do not have, and you wanted something from them. And I honestly believe that entrepreneurs don't have one good idea. We have a billion little ideas running out of our heads. Is what we do with those ideas. How do we mature those ideas? And we can't mature all of them at one time. And I'm thinking, if any shark asks me for a piece of my business, you can have 97% of it. I don't care. Because that 3% that you're going to make, that I'm going to have with you as my partner, is far greater than the 100% I would have done alone. I just honestly believe that. And I am such an amazing student. As I watch you grow my business, my next idea, I'm going to pour the whole structure that I just learned from you in that. So I'm always so amazed when people say no. They walk out with no deal, not because they didn't have a good idea, not because there wasn't a shark that was interested, not because they were not even offering the money that they needed to do the next thing, simply because this need to own so much of it was far greater. And I just think, wow, that's one of the reasons why partnerships don't work and people don't want to be in partnerships, because it has to be all about them. My name has to be on the light. I have to be the head. I need to be the CEO, the COO, the CFO, the CTO, the CLO, the CHRO, and of what? Because you also get to be the head janitor, the head cleaner, simply because you have this micro business. And so I encourage all of us, when we're thinking about partnerships, to come to the table saying, what did you bring? What can you bring? What do I bring? And how can we make something that doesn't even exist? But only through our relationship and our connection, we can have this amazing business, this amazing platform, this amazing organization. And I have found that when people do that, not only do they elevate each other, but they're giving an opportunity for their community to be elevated by enjoying the expertise of both. The other reason why partnerships fail is that, like me in that relationship, I was saying nothing. I just was watching the emails go back and forth. And inside, each time I thought, this is not right. This is not right. Well, who's going to tell them it's not right? It was up to me. So a lot of times we have this partner who is not happy and doesn't say anything till it's too late. And then everybody goes, why? Why are you complaining now? 5 years later, this is what the deal was. Why are you complaining now? And so we have to be very vocal, we have to be transparent, we have to be honest, we have to be candid. Because just like any relationship, if that is missing, then the relationship is not, it's broken. I always joke with my friends when we go out, and I said, if someone tells me that they have been married for 15 years and they've never thought of divorce, they should check to see if they're really married. Because I'm not saying you should get divorced. I've been married for 25 years and a couple of months. But there's times when you're thinking, man, I could do better without you. But in those moments, you don't go to the table and say, I'm going to do better without you. But it's that candid part of you, of saying that, okay, I could do better without you, but I don't want to do life without you, and sitting down and talking and having conversations. So I think that's also. And of course, the very basic one of not having clear guidelines up front. And also, even as your guidelines are clear, once they're established, having an attitude and openness to allow them to be blurred. So yes, these are the guidelines. These are my responsibilities. And so if I'm responsible for all the operational part, does that mean I would never participate in a strategic meeting? And so I know what's my responsibility, but I'm also willing to give in every other area to make this relationship and this business and this partnership absolutely work. So be clear, but yet be ready to blur the lines for the better and the growth of your organization. So I say thanks so much for coming. I'm so happy. We had, like, honestly, if we can get a worse time than 12 o'clock, I don't know. Lunchtime on checkout time on the last day of an event. Thank you so much for coming. Thanks for you showing up, being partners with us, and allowing us to share our message with you. And really, any partnership that you have, your marriage, your children, your friends, it's not about 50-50. It's about how you can create something that is so beautiful that no one wants to see it break up. Because you have given your all, they have given their all. And your all may look different. Your all may look like this, and their all may look like that. But you give everything that you have because you really want something that neither one of you could create without each other. Thanks so much. Okay, the bell ringer is